This is the word of the Lord.
May the words of my mouth, the meditations of our hearts be acceptable to you, O Lord, our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. I'd like to start with a 4-minute video from a TV show recorded in 1980.
The Debney Park High School Band is unique for one very special reason. The school is regarded as a disadvantaged school, with grounds consisting of 3/4 of an acre of concrete, a small patch of grass, one 3-story building, and an old red brick building that was the first women's jail in Melbourne. And in addition, the school population not only come from predominantly non-English speaking backgrounds, but many come from underprivileged ones. The band consists of 40 members whose ages range from 12 to 17, and to see the Debney Park Band is to see the faces of 17 different cultural backgrounds. Here to tell us more before we listen to them is the band manager, Peter Worland. Would you welcome, please, Peter Worland. Well, this sounds like quite a group of kids here. Now, how did all of this start, Peter?
It all started, Don, in 1975, towards the end of 1975-76. John Howie, the music teacher at the school then, put in for a grant, which was a new grant in the federal government for disadvantaged schools in the supplementary grants program, and got approximately $5,000, and the whole program started from there. It's now worth, the instruments alone are worth over $20,000. Some of them are we've begged for them. Yes, some of them are borrowed, and some of them are borrowed for so long they're just about stolen, but we've got the instruments now and we're underway.
Well, I was talking about the nationalities, these kids, and the cultural backgrounds. It's a great conglomerate here, isn't it?
Yeah, at our school we've got 33 different nationalities, and I think the band's just been updated. We've got about 20 different nationalities now with the Vietnamese intake that we've had of late. Yeah.
And other low-income homes, underprivileged kids as well?
Yes, the school's made up of a fairly good mix. There's quite a few from the high-rise flats, a little over a third, but there's also some others from various other places. There's a fair mix, but generally inner suburban Melbourne's a fairly tough neighbourhood, and I'm not making any excuses for the economic viability of the families. We have a lot of problems raising money, a lot of problems.
Well, how do you raise the money?
Well, that's my job. Our conductor's Les Fagan. He does a great job with the music, but it's my job to try and get the money together. Supplementary grants program's worth, well, it's worth a couple of $1,000 a year, and we couldn't do without it for repairs of instruments and so on, but to take them around Australia like we've just done, outback New South Wales and Queensland, that was worth about $20,000. And I had to raise...
You mean you made 20 or it cost you 20?
The trip was worth 20, and I had to somehow get that money or... the worth of it together in the last 8 months.
I see. Yeah.
Which I've done by contacting various private companies and municipal councils, Apex clubs, Lions clubs, Rotary clubs and so on.
Well, you must be really proud of them, because I watched them this afternoon and boy, they put everything into it,
yeah,
and they are really good. That's the other part.
Yeah, they work hard. Before we went around Australia it was 10 hours a week, and they know that if they're going to get anywhere in this world they only do it by damned hard work. And it doesn't cost them anything. I raise all the money and they do all the work, and they get the rewards.
Sounds like a good arrangement with me. It sounds like you're getting a few rewards out of it as well, I'll tell you what.
Well, it's very rewarding to see kids strive and to see them succeed. Yeah.
All right, what's this number they're going to do for us now?
Crunchy Granola Sweet, conducted by Mr. Les Fagan and arranged by him as well.
Okay, here they are, the Debney Park High School Band. Say hello to them.
That may seem like... That may seem like, well, it didn't seem like it was, nostalgic indulgence on my part, for which I apologise in advance. But I hope you'll come to see the relevance of it as we seek new insights from today's gospel. I still can't get over the hair. I'd like to start by speaking a little bit about that time. Fresh out of university, I was posted to teach at the second poorest high school in Australia under the disadvantaged schools list, Debney Park High School, the bottom of the high-rise flats, in the inner west of Melbourne. About 6 months before this Don Lane show was recorded, my mother died of cancer. And 6 weeks later, my father died suddenly from what was described as a broken heart. As you can imagine, our whole family was traumatised. I was a 26-year-old, grief-stricken mess. I threw myself into my teaching tasks, which included, as you've just seen, managing the school band. I was also busy with my community as a newly elected councillor for the city of Richmond in Melbourne. On the home front, Robin and I were just 3 years into our 50 years of married life together. When Don Lane slapped me on the sleeve and with a throwaway line said, "You've given a lot to these kids, but you've also received a lot," he was not to know how prescient and life-changing his words would be. Paradoxically, at this fraught and fragmented time in my life, I'd stumbled across my own true purpose. The meaning that had eluded me as an anxious teenager was in plain sight. Our parents were great contributors and encouraged us kids to go door to door every year collecting funds for the Salvos, Red Cross, ABSCOL, the Aboriginal scholarships and more. Compassion and social justice were constants in our family's life. When this video, rough as it is, resurfaced just a few months ago, looking back, it was obvious to me now that this Debney Park experience laid bare my very reason for being. While I was later to go on to hold senior positions in government, business and church welfare organisation, it was that school band that lit a fire in my belly. A fire that's never been extinguished. A sense of purpose that once formed has driven me on and continues to provide me with meaning and purpose today. Do you have a moment like this? A moment when the answer to that eternal question, what is my life for, was answered. When things get tough, do you have a moment like this that you can recall, a memory that you can reach down into your gut and grab with both hands? A moment that defines your reason to be here. Your reason to be here that continues to inspire you and stiffen you up to do even more. Do you have a moment? A memory like that? So let's park that picture, that memory. We'll come back to it. Robin and I were driving back to Sydney from the Adelaide Festival along those, are we there yet? Endless roads from Gawler to Broken Hill. We passed the time by listening to a podcast. It was a hidden brain interview with Professor Victor Strecker from Michigan University's School of Public Health. He is the author of the popular text, Life on Purpose, which provides scientific evidence to support the advice he provides to his readers. Advice on how to spend their lives meaningfully. The professor's book starts with a personal story about his daughter Julia's battle with a dreadful illness, requiring 2 heart transplants, one when she was only a few weeks old and one when she was 9 years old. He tells how shattered he and his wife Jerry were when Julia, after her seemingly healthy and happy teenage years, died suddenly in her 19th year. As we drove along, Robin got on the mobile phone, which she's wont to do, and booked a motel room for the night in Broken Hill. It turned out to be the oldest, most ramshackle motel imaginable, where your feet actually stick to the carpet. But over a couple of chicken schnitzels at the Broken Hill Musicians Club, our spirits were lifted as we deconstructed the story of the professor and his daughter's brave life and death. Victor Strecker discovered that the only way he could find meaning in his life after Julia's death was to focus less on the traditional things he'd been focusing on, like research grants and climbing up the greasy academic pole, and to focus more on his students. So he devoted himself to teaching each one, as he puts it, as if they were his own daughter, Julia. This higher order reprioritised purpose, full of kindness and compassion, transformed his life. Gone were his suicidal thoughts. His new transcendent mindset informed and reformed his whole sense of life's meaning, which he's now sharing with millions around the world in his writings and his podcasts. He freely admits that he's playing to an eager audience. Our world, he says, is hungry for his purpose talk. The superficial social media generations are desperately searching for meaning in their lives. They're looking for real answers. Answers that fly above the noise, the busyness, the endless scrolling through other people's fake lives on TikTok, Facebook and Instagram. There is a deep desire, an unmet need for purpose that transcends self, he says. Explaining the science behind his own transformation makes the professor's case more compelling. Recently discovered parts of the brain in the frontier, he explains, now allows scientists to identify where self-transcending values, such as compassion and justice, are to be found. Importantly, this research also shows that those who prioritise these values live happier, healthier, and more fulfilling lives. But wait for it. This research also shows that those who reach out to help others who are strangers, those not known to them, and strange people, those not like them, are rewarded even more. Does this ring any bells? Haven't you and I heard this before? Just a few minutes before, with James reading. Transcendence self-giving, deeply held values, purposeful, true, compassionate, exemplary lives helping others who are from a different tribe. We here at Mustard Seed know that we are called to love the Lord our God with all our heart, with all our soul and with all our mind. We know this is the first commandment and the second's like it. We should love our neighbour as we do ourselves, treating others with the same care and respect we have for ourselves. This is an ancient Hebrew teaching, straight out of Leviticus 19. But Jesus takes it further, much further. In the parable of the Good Samaritan, he puts a rocket under these commandments. No longer are these acts of kindness to be restricted to the chosen people, Jesus' Jewish friends and family. Rather, Jesus' radical new purpose is for us, his followers, to love all people, even our enemies, even the despised Samaritans. The Jews hated the Samaritans for thousands of years, and the Samaritans returned it with hatred of the Jews too. So 2,000 years ago, this teaching of Jesus was revolutionary. It continues to be revolutionary to this day. Just imagine, where would the Palestinians of Gaza be today if Netanyahu followed the teachings of the parable of the Good Samaritan? We wouldn't be sitting watching our TV news every night and watching a massacre occur. Just imagine, where would our First Nations people be today if we whites and our settler forebears had not treated Indigenous people as the enemy, but instead had treated them with the same respect we have for ourselves? Walter Brueggemann, leading Protestant theologian of the 20th century, argues that our covenant with God invites us to play an active role in creating a more just world. In this way, caring for our neighbour is not just a personal act, but a political act. Following the Samaritan story, the parable of the Good Samaritan, we're not only pitched against warmongers and racists, says Brueggemann, we're also called to stand against corrosive cultural worldviews, such as individualism and consumerism. Brueggemann's prophetic imagination. Brueggemann's Prophetic Imagination, a great book if you're looking for a good read, involves both criticising the status quo and leading the community to alternative futures rooted in God's promises of justice and hope. Sometimes our Christian actions are both political and personal. Lifeline, for example. There are thousands across the country, but it was forebears of our uniting church right here in Sydney who set up the first Lifeline. Many thousands of Uniting Church members have since trained to become counsellors, assisting people from all faiths and none. There are some here today who joined Lifeline and lent a friendly ear to the lonely, the abandoned, or those whose life was too hard and had pushed them to the verge of suicide. These are very personal conversations. Lifeline was not established to help people like us. It was not restricted to folks who attend our church or who have a similar belief system. Giving of our time to help others like this is a personal commitment to act as the Good Samaritan story would have us act. But Lifeline's advocacy also results in more and better mental health services. Over the years, it's proven to be courageously political. Back to the beginning. Was there a memory of yours that was triggered by my school band experience? Was it like mine? Did you reach back into your formative years and find a moment that your reason for living, your purpose, became clear to you? Can you trace it back to your Christian values? Was it there in plain sight all along, as mine was? Can you link it to the story of the Good Samaritan? Did it share any of Professor Victor Strecker's self-transcending values of compassion and justice? Or perhaps you connected it to the science behind the exponential returns we experience when helping a stranger or a person not of our tribe. Is your true purpose personal or political? Or both? As we leave this church this morning and return to the challenges of our world, we're encouraged by our gospel to dig deep into what sustains us and gives us purpose. If you find yourself flagging in need of a reminder of the radical call of Christ in everyday language, it's difficult to go past John Wesley's wise words, do all the good you can, by all the means you can, in all the ways you can, to all the people you can, as long as ever you can. Amen.